joined today by David Paul, who is title.
Manager of Educational
Manager of Educational Technology at the University of Denver Anschutz Medical Center. So they're probably one of the largest Panopto customers in North America. And so he was gracious enough to say that he could come here. So what I really would like to do today is, give you a little overview of Panopto. Are people here mostly familiar with lecture capture? I just don't know how. No? Yes? Yes? No? Okay, so I'll give you a brief overview of lecture capture, go into the weeds a little bit about Panopto, what makes us different. But I also want to hold true to the title that I gave to this, which is Beyond Lecture Capture. And part of understanding how Panopto takes you beyond lecture capture is to understand what we do and then how we go beyond that. So I'll keep on coming back to that theme of how this advances lecture capture. I'm going to be recording it as well. You may have seen me in some of the sessions around. They've asked me to record. Everything that I have is right here on my laptop, so I just carry it around bag to bag, in this bag from room to room. So essentially it's a laptop, a couple of digital webcams that are about $60. So this camera right here is focused on me, the presenter. Okay, I have another camera that's focused on the plain old whiteboard. I've heard a lot of discussion about the old school professors and dragging them into this technology. So one of the nice things here is that we can actually capture right on whiteboards and chalkboards. Okay.
Joe, will we have access to your recording of the session?
Yes. Yeah. So I have a sign-up sheet. If you want it emailed to you today, it'll be processed within 20 minutes after the presentation is done. I can email it to you, or Colt is going to put it on their wiki. Okay, so you can go back to the wiki, all the sessions that I recorded. I believe MediaSite is recording as well. So, let me just talk a little bit about how to create a recording within Panopto. You see that the software is right here. This could be on your faculty's laptop. There's a PC version. There's a Macintosh version of the recorder. So you can record in the classroom or outside of the classroom utilizing the same software. If you're in the classroom, if the Panopto software is loaded on the podium computer that might be in that classroom, then that can be scheduled. So you as the presenter don't have to do anything. It will automatically turn on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 10:50. It'll know that Joe Franklin is the professor. It'll know my Moodle, my Blackboard, my Angel, my Desire to Learn through Rss Feeds. It'll know, because I've already set up in the schedule, where to place the link to that presentation automatically. So it's really designed to be an automated process. So it's automated in the sense of doing the actual recording. It's automated in the sense of doing the post-production. So when we talk about cost savings, I talk to a lot of universities. I cover the Western region for Panopto. I mean, hardly anyone is expanding staff, and yet staff is asking to do more and more, and particularly with more and more sophisticated end products like digital media. Okay, so we automate a lot of the processes for you. So I'm going to show you what we call ad hoc or push to start. So this would be the situation where I'm in my office as a professor. I can be in a lab. I can be on the network or off the network. It doesn't matter. And then I can go ahead and set up my recording. And anybody guess what I pressed to start the record? I mean, I don't know if we can make that red button any bigger. But once it's set up. Now I'm going to go backwards a little bit and show you how I set up the cameras. Okay? This is a one-time thing where you set up the cameras. Once you set them up, all your AV devices, then the system remembers it. So next time you bring up Panopto, it automatically has those all configured. So you have the primary source, which is basically the presenter video. Okay? So you can go ahead and pick the cameras that you want to choose. Now again, I have two cameras here. So I want the LifeCam Studio, which is this camera here, as my presenter video. So I would just go ahead and select that. And for the presenter audio, I do the same thing. Now I'm just using the audio from the webcam. Okay? If I had a room audio, that would be selected, automatically. Okay? I can ask for standard or high def quality. So standard quality is, remember that ultimately this is being streamed over the internet. Okay, so that's really the bottleneck is, in terms of quality, is the internet. But we have a lot of customers that want a high quality, high def recording because they either, bandwidth is not an issue, or they're burning these to DVDs later and they're distributing in that way. So they want a really high quality, high resolution. So you go ahead and make that decision. We're very tightly integrated with PowerPoint. You'll see here later one of the things that goes beyond lecture capture is, after you have the video done, how are you going to search on video? How do you search on video and audio? It's very difficult, right? So one of the things that we do is, because PowerPoint is one of the primary presentation tools, we tightly integrate with PowerPoint. And when you bring up a PowerPoint presentation, it actually downloads all the words that are in that PowerPoint into the very powerful search index engine for Panopto. So I want to tell it, yes, I'm going to capture PowerPoint. I can also say I want to do screen capture. So screen capture is anything that's outside of PowerPoint. So if I go to the web and I play a video, I want to be able to capture that. If I go and I bring up Excel or Word or any other application, any publisher information that might have animation, that's all called screen capture. So I want to go ahead and be able to capture that. And then a very nice feature down here is the ability to set your frame rate for that screen capture. Now, for those of you that are new to lecture capture, that may not seem like a big deal. It's a pretty big deal because screen capture has always been the Achilles heel of lecture capture, because what happens is that you're recording the instructor video at 15 frames per second, or in the case of high def, 30 frames per second. And then usually any sort of video that comes up on the screen, what we call the VGA capture, is at a very low frame rate, 5 frames per second, things like that, or just maybe JPEG images. In other words, it takes stills of that and just plays back those stills, and you get a very jerky movement and it's not high quality at all. But Panopto allows you to set that frame rate up to 30 frames per second. So 30 frames per second on a YouTube video is probably better than the frame rate of the YouTube video itself being served to you. So it really gives you that flexibility to set the resolution within the player. So you can go ahead and direct which folder it's going to be going into. But essentially, I've done a lot of talking here, about 5 minutes worth of talking. But as you, as the instructor, the presenter, all you have to do is bring up the Panopto application and then just press the record button. So we're recording right now. So I'm going to go ahead to PowerPoint, and I'm going to go ahead and open up. Oh, I already got it open. And there we go. So there's my presentation. So what you're seeing here, the people in the viewing audience are going to see as well. Okay. So beyond lecture capture, one of the things that I like to do is to have my customers actually talk for me. I'm the salesman. You should always be wary of salesmen. I won't take it personally. I come from a very large family. I've been beat up a lot. I got a very thick skin, but you should not believe the salespeople. Go talk to your colleagues. Well, one of our prominent colleagues is Duke University, and they've done lecture capture for quite a long time, starting with building their own system. And then they went to, I believe they went to Echo 360, and then they found that really wasn't adequate for scaling, so they went with Panopto. So this is a quote from them. They did a lot of research. They did a detailed analysis over a year's time, and they selected Panopto for what they call their Duke capture system. So, and in addition, they've now gone campus-wide with it. So they talked to the IT directors of all the different departments, the medical school, engineering, business, liberal arts, everybody, because they could all do their own thing. So they all went behind Panopto. And they said it was chosen primarily due to its exceptional performance support and the scalability. That's a very important word here, because there's a lot of lecture capture companies, and Panopto should really be fit in a category. You've got screencast types of products like Camtasia, help me out, David, some others.
Captivate.
Captivate, and I think there's a Profcast and others like that, which is basically voice over PowerPoint. So there's that category. Panopto's in the category with MediaSite, Echo, Integrity, that category of an enterprise-type solution, full rich media, multiple playback formats, scheduling, easy deployment, easy to use type of solution. So scalability is very important because it costs a lot of money to put in lecture capture. And of that category that I mentioned, those Integrity, Echo, Sonic Foundry, I would say that Panopto on a checklist probably meets each one of their features, probably exceeds it, but at probably at least 30 to 40% of the cost, because it's a software-only solution. We're not basing it on a proprietary hardware appliance that you need to install. So it runs on your existing infrastructure, which I'll go into detail later. So innovative features such as personal recording options. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm using this as a personal recording option. I'm a faculty member. I'm in my home, my office, the lab, on the network, off the network. I can go ahead and do this kind of full, rich media capture. What allows the recording to move outside the classroom. An editor, a web-based editor, which is very full-featured. And the ability to take, for viewers to take time-coded notes, either during the live recording or while viewing it at a later time. And I'll show you that. That's called Live Notes. So, and if you want, I'll send you this PowerPoint, and you can go ahead and check out these links. This is where they actually present the report about why they went with Panopto. So it's about a 50-minute recording, but they go into very detailed analysis of why they went with Panopto and talked about everybody else. And this is how they deploy it, on their campus. So it's sort of their landing page for using Panopto. So what are the key differentiators? Well, really it's driving down the cost of campus-wide lecture capture, web broadcasting, and digital content management. And it does it, and Panopto does this several ways. What it does is it allows you to create high-quality output. So a lot of people are asking for HD. Now, again, remember I said earlier about the issue of bandwidth is you're gating your bottleneck. But still, you want to create HD because later on, bandwidth will improve, or you may have other uses for HD right now. And the resulting digital media that you create and capture, you can repurpose. You can go in there. It's not made in a proprietary format. So you can go in there and take the video, and now it's in HD, and you can go ahead and repurpose that if you want to, audio and all the components that you've created. So you've got high quality output standard or HD options. So you don't have to go to a very heavy duty appliance just to get HD. You can get it right from a laptop, right here. Okay? You've got high quality output. Mobile playback, streaming or download. So there's mobile playback options, and I'll go into detail of these in a bit. There's ease of use. Okay, no lecture capture system is good unless it's easy to use. Because I go to a lot of these conferences, I hear the same thing over and over again. It has to be easy to use for the faculty, or it will stay in the box. It won't even be touched. Okay, so we've got a lot of higher education customers, about 400. They're using it because it's easy to use. Multiple video source recording. That's what I'm going to be showing you right here. So you've got the one camera that's on the presenter, but here's yet another camera that's on another subject area. So this whiteboard over here. As far as I know, no other lecture capture system does that to allow multiple video sources. This other video source could be a document camera. Okay, so it allows you to simultaneously capture that, and then you'll see how it presents it. And then you got this high frame rate that I discussed before, of up to 30 frames per second. That's a really key thing. Yes?
We also utilize the cameras built into, say, a laptop?
Yes. Yeah, the question was, can you utilize, and I'm repeating it because they're recording it back here, and also I'm recording it. So I'm going to repeat the question. So can you utilize the camera that's in the laptop? Absolutely. Yeah. Anything that this computer sees as a video source and audio source, you can use. Okay. And then there's the live notes that Duke referred to earlier. So there's live notes, and there's search. So let's talk about one of the key things is using your existing computers, your PCs or Macs. You spent a lot of money to get these out there in the classrooms. I'd say the majority of schools that I work with do have computers in the classroom. Some don't, in which case what they do is they build a PC that looks like an appliance. It's dedicated just for lecture capture, but it's at a fraction of the cost of a proprietary, capture system. So this is David. I hope I didn't steal your thunder, but this is actually David's classroom. And this is an HP, so that's the actual computer. And Panopto is just loaded on there. And it's just a simple, there's that big red button, push to start. Or it can be scheduled. Okay? So you can utilize and leverage your existing infrastructure.
The little orange sign back there says, oh, man,
Right there. And then you can also use, because it's on industry standard platform, you can use industry standard commodity components and peripherals. So this is a $60 HD camera. Okay? If it works, it's great. If it works in your environment, it's terrific. You can also use cameras like that are installed in the back of the room. Okay? Because those are controlled by a control room, or they have other features of them. But you can do it. Imagine I'm in my office and I want to go ahead and just do a quick recording. I can use the camera that's in the laptop here, or another one like this. The other key differentiator, sorry, I actually reworked this morning, and so all my timing is off on this. So affordable licensing. Again, I mentioned earlier, that we're anywhere from 30 to 40% less than the other solutions in our category. We have multiple pricing options as well. You can price it by FTE, full-time enrolled, students. And we have step-in programs. We don't expect you, if you got 30,000 students, you're going to pay the 30,000 FTE price. If you're going to start it, you're going to start lecture capture, this next semester. So you can build up to it. But this is just to give you an idea. So we have a deployed option, which means that you host it yourselves, like they do at University of Denver there, or host it. We actually work with the Amazon folks in the Amazon cloud. And so we have a very robust and very affordable hosting program as well. So you can see here, it's a little hard to see that, I apologize, but the deployed for up to 1,000 FTE is $12,500 a year, and the hosted is $11,250 a year. If there was an asterisk there, the hosted, that gives you a usage bundle. So a usage bundle is 1,000 recording hours and 5,000 viewing hours. Okay? And if you need another, so that's a really good entry-level way to go. And then if you need another usage bundle within that year, then that costs $3,000 for another 1,000 recording hours and 5,000 viewing hours. Okay? So you can actually start off small and then build up. And people typically, the typical deployment is they may go hosted to give it a try, so you don't have to worry about the infrastructure, run a pilot with it, get faculty using it, get some usage statistics, and then they can make the decision about going to deployed or just staying with the hosted model. Okay? So you can see it's pretty reasonable. 10,000 students is a pretty decent-sized school, or might be several departments together at a campus. Yes.
Does the license live on that in-classroom computer always? Like, I guess how many instances of Panopto are we getting in that?
Oh, very good. Thank you. So the question was, how many instances of the license are you getting? It's unlimited. Yeah, unlimited licenses. So you can load it on every faculty laptop. You can load it on student if students need to do recordings. For students, on every computer that's in every classroom. Okay? If you've got a remote campus, I was talking to the engineering department, and they do things off-site with some aerospace companies. If you're using their facilities to do the recording, you can download your license over there. Okay? It's all web. It's all controlled by the web. Yes?
And just out of curiosity, maybe this is obvious, but it would occur to me that if you're hosting it, the cost would be higher. So what's the differential? What are they using to calculate?
Oh, sure. Yes. So it's because of that usage bundle. Okay? So what would happen typically is you would go beyond that usage bundle, let's say the second year. So that's when you would add that $3,000, and now the hosting is a little bit more expensive. Okay? So we wanted to make it as affordable as possible for people to start. So you get the one usage bundle in there. All right?
Well, what
But,
I mean is, deployed, he said that's when it's at my facility.
right,
Yeah. So that cost is higher than the hosting.
right.
So what are they using for that, that calculation?
Okay, well, with the deployed, you've got unlimited usage, unlimited recording, unlimited viewing. Okay, so that would be the advantage of having the deployed. I work with a lot of schools where lecture capture is new. They really don't know what it's going to be. So we wanted to get the lowest cost option for them. So that's why we have the hosted. So the hosted, you don't have to worry about infrastructure. You got one usage bundle. I think maybe with the 10,000, that might include 2 usage bundles.
Just to give you an idea,
Yeah.
we have ours deployed. If we keep 1 year's recordings, and we've got about 2,400 hours of recordings. So if you start using this a lot, on the hosted one, that'll go up.
Yeah, you'll go to 3,000, plus 3, and then plus 6 if you go beyond. But then you'll have the data to decide, do I want to go ahead and deploy it myself, in the infrastructure? Because then when you deploy it yourself, well, the Amazon cloud is pretty robust, as far as a network. But you would have your own network as well, that you would use it on. Okay. We talked about, again, driving down the cost, is the fact that we can utilize multiple video sources. Well, how does this save you money? Well, this camera right here, let me get out of here for a second and show you how that looks on the recorder. And this is another nice feature. You can always go back to the recorder to see. It's sort of a confidence monitoring, okay? Even while you're recording, to see if everything is hooked up right and working. So I can see my volume, my voice volume going, my presenter video, and then let's just double check on this. But by having this camera pointed on my whiteboard, I don't need a tablet. I don't need an electronic whiteboard. I need a $60 camera, USB, sitting on a table pointed at my whiteboard. Okay? And then, in fact, well, I'll go ahead and I'll do this recording here. Always make sure these are dry erase. So I can go up, and now I could be a professor in my classroom, an engineering professor. They got whiteboards all over the place. I can have this pointed at my whiteboard. I could be a math instructor. I can go ahead and do the Pythagorean theorem. This is also recorded at high def, so this is 1080p when we're done with the recording. And it goes in and out of focus, but that's because I'm moving. So this is, the Pythagorean theorem. So we got, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And you go through and do your calculation and see how many. I only do this because it's easy. So if A is 3 and B is 4, what's C? C is 5. Look at that. All right. I got a lollipop for you. Okay? But you can see here that it's recording it, and you'll see it when you play it back. It shows up very nicely. Okay? So I just mitigated the need of having a tablet or having an electronic whiteboard. And you get those, we had talk about the old school professors who can't get off the chalk and talk. Okay? You've got a way to capture that. We're just not going to have enough time, are we, David? Okay. And so here's an example here. Okay? There's a camera that's on the presenter, and then there's a separate camera that's on the person at the blackboard. And even in this photo, that shows up pretty nicely. Okay? The other way to drive down the cost is that with Panopto, you can also go live. This can be a live webcast. So you just check a box there to say you want to broadcast this live. Okay? So that mitigates the need of having another live kind of utility there. And you don't have to have a dedicated appliance to do live. And you can do live, again, from your laptop in your office. You don't have to be tied to that smart classroom. Yeah.
What does that look like for the end viewer? How do they log on to that? How do they get
Sure. Yeah. So if you've got Blackboard or Moodle or Angel, or we're talking to Desire to Learn. I know this is a big Desire to Learn campus. It will show up in that course. You'll see it, and there'll be a live line underneath it. Okay, because it will have been scheduled, so the link will be there. So all the student has to do is just log into their and into the course management system, click on the link, and it's going to go ahead and give them the live broadcast.
And is that assuming that we're doing local hosting, or is that with the Amazon?
That's the Amazon too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So at this point with D2L, there's not a pretty seamless interface.
With D2L, the question was, is with D2L, is there a seamless interface? Not yet. Okay, but we're working with them. They got to develop an API for us to write to, and right now I believe I've been trying to find out. I think they support RSS feeds, which we do, so we can get that link over there by RSS.
Okay, so there might be a way to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that same link that's used for the live is used for the recording later. So if the student couldn't get there for the live, they can still use that same link to go back there for the recording. And the live has some really nifty features. It has DVR type controls. So again, if I'm 10 minutes late to that live recording, I can go back, I can rewind, just like a TiVo, and start from the beginning. And either try to catch up, or there's a button that says go live. So I can click on that, and that'll take me right to that moment in time. Okay, so some really nice features on it. And it streams the audio, the video, and the presentation materials. And so here's the little box on the recorder that I showed you earlier. You just click that box, and that's how you broadcast live. When you do click that box, then the presenter gets a box down here on their screen that will take questions from the people remotely. So you as the remote viewer get a question box, and then the questions show up here for the presenter. Okay, so we talked about HD quality. A lot of people are putting a lot of money into expensive lecture capture equipment to get HD. You got it right here on the computers that you have already. I've actually got the wrong presentation up, but that's okay. So you have mobile versions that are automatically created as well. So they're M4V versions. So they're played on your iOS or iPad, your iTouch, your iPhones, your Android devices. And we have an option. You can set how you want that to display. So we've got a picture-in-picture. So you can have the presenter video and then the presentation materials as the big box. You can have them side by side. You can have just one or the other. However you want to set up the viewing of the mobile devices, you can do that by course. So if the professor says, I don't want my video on it, you don't have to have your video on it. Okay?
The neatest one is they've got one where if you switch a slide, it'll show that slide for a certain amount of seconds, then it'll switch back to the presenter. And then you go to the next slide, it shows the slide, and then switches back. And on an iPad or something, you've just got a small little screen, and that way you can actually see the whole thing without missing much.
And it's an auto-detect link. So there's only one link that you have to post. Some systems you've got to have a link for the full rich media version. You have to have a link for the mobile version, whatever. Ours is just one link. It detects that you're on a mobile device, and we'll go ahead and just stream, and it streams as well. Again, that's a great feature because students don't want to download content and fill up their devices, okay? Because they got more important things like their music and their videos. Right? So it actually streams, so it doesn't take up any of their hard drive. How are we doing on time?
It's 20 after.
Yeah, so I better. I'm going to move through this a little more quickly. I'm actually going to bring up that other.
Sorry to ask this if you've already gone into
Sure.
accessibility. How about my students with deafness?
Oh, sure. Yeah. We got several options that you can do. We have automatic transfer to human transcription services like automatic sync technologies. What's the something Colorado? What? Colorado Relay or was Caption Colorado? So what we do is when you set up in the workflow that you want to have that closed caption, we set up a server-to-server exchange, and we take the audio file for that presentation. We send it to them. They do the transcription and the time coding. That gets sent back automatically to your server or the hosted server and gets put in with that presentation. And so now you have a Captions tab that you'll be able to see. So let me go ahead and show that to you, because I got a player here.
Is that part of the license fee?
Yes, yeah, there's no extra charge. As well as the course management system integration, there's no extra charge. So let me show you this. I also want to show you this search feature. So I'm not going to have time to show you all the ways that we can set up the metadata for the search, but remember the challenge. The challenge is everybody wants to record video, but nobody wants to watch it, okay? It's going to be tough to record a 50-minute lecture and then say to a student, sit down and watch that. I, as a student who sat in that class, I'm taking live notes, okay? There is the PowerPoint. All those words are going into the search index. And in addition, if you've got a closed caption, all those words are going into the search index, okay? So how do you use that search index? Well, you can use it within the presentation to search for key areas. It's a 50-minute lecture, and I just had problems with this particular area. So I can search for that area. Now I've got metadata to work with. Or you can use the Panopto library page, and you can search all the content that you have on campus for your particular search. So I'm going to go ahead in here and put in adult diabetes. So this is going to go ahead and search all the content that I, as a student, have access to. There's permission levels for access, okay? Maybe just diabetes. Let's see. Oh, it's looking at my, yeah. That was in one folder. Here to see all sessions. Okay? So let me do the search here. So what this is doing is going through and it's searching all those notes. It's searching all the PowerPoint, all the search indexes that are in there for that term. And then here are the results. And the results, now it's going to take me, if I click on the link, to exactly that point in the presentation. So let's click on the first one. It says complications in older adults. So it's going to take me to the 15-minute, 17-second time in there.
Okay, now what I'd like to do is talk about common complications in older adults.
And so here,
One very common complication that we see.
I'm just going to mute this for a second so we can see what's going on. So the contents, that's a table of contents that's generated from the PowerPoint. So it takes the first set of words from every single PowerPoint slide and automatically builds a table of contents. Okay, so a student can search by that. Or just look down and say, yeah, here's depression. I want to go there to the point about depression. I could go ahead and I can use the index here. So this index here, I can go ahead and say, I didn't quite understand that hospitalization of older adults. So I can go ahead and click on that index. And this is generated automatically by the Panopto system. If it's closed captioned, there's the closed captioning. Okay? And this synchronizes with the presentation. So right there, you see where it's highlighted? That's where she's on right now. So I'll let that.
I basically start there and saying it's underdiagnosed and untreated because it's often confused with other signs and symptoms.
Okay? So that becomes part of the metadata for the search as well.
Here now when we talk about hospitals.
So I have my notes. So while I was watching this presentation or while I was in the class, I made my notes. You see how it says J. Franklin? That's because I logged in and the server knew that I was authorized to take notes here. So I made some pretty relevant notes. This is going to be on the test. Okay? This is confusing. Review later. Okay? So if I want to search and say, show me everything that's going to be on the test, because we know that's what students do. So you're going to say, show me every place where I said it's going to be on the test. And so I just click on that link. It's going to take me to 11 minutes and 50 seconds, and that's what's going to be on the test. Okay? So a lot of ability here to search by that metadata. And that sort of takes you beyond lecture capture. A lot of good systems out there can capture. It's a whole other thing. And when you have that huge amount of content, how do you make it relevant for students? How can they do a fast search? How can they find the information they need now? Okay. Another thing that came up last night is somebody said, the thing with Blackboard is that once the semester is over, the student loses access to all the content. Not if you have it recorded. Okay. That page that I went to that did that search, that's the Panopto library page. You could have that as an additional resource to your course management system. Okay. David, I'm going to let you go ahead and take the rest. There's quite a bit more, but in the interest of time, I'm going to let David go ahead and.
I wanted to show, actually, the one clip I was going to show was almost identical to the one we did with searching and stuff. But I've got another one here. They use this in our physical therapy program. What they do is they use it to demonstrate, the instructor will demonstrate the technique on a subject, and then the students will watch this again and again and practice it until they get it right, until they feel comfortable with it.
I don't think I have the screen capture.
Yeah, okay, so, well, I'm just going to be, oh, that's true, so that probably won't show up here, so let's see. So let me, this is the one. I'm gonna go ahead and pause yours. Okay, so I wanna add one quick caveat to this. Our physical therapy program, the reason I picked this one is because the student is modestly dressed and because you can't see her face. And I had to look quite a while to find this. Typically in physical therapy, the students are rather young and attractive. They want to show the muscular groups and stuff, so they typically wear jogging shorts. The guys go shirtless. The women wear bikini tops. And I was going through and I was like, I probably shouldn't use that one. That's not going to work. So I finally found one here that I think I can use. So I've also got a note at the start point, so I can just click on this and it'll take me right there. And this is the instructor, and I can double click on this to make the screen larger. Now, unfortunately, we don't have audio here, do we?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you've got it muted, right? There we go. So this is a physical examination that we're looking at here.
Your buttock muscle is contracting compared to your back, your thigh muscle. So you go ahead and just lift that leg up a little bit for me and relax. Lift it up a little bit for me and relax. The other side, a little bit for me and relax again and relax. All right, so this looks much better when she doesn't lift as high, when she only goes to the 10 degrees. So I don't see any of this anymore.
So I'm just going to stop this right here. But like I said, there are different uses for this instead of just a traditional lecture capture. One of the other things that we do is when we first put this in, we were like, as some of you experienced, there was a certain amount of faculty opposition. The faculty said, we'll let you record them, but I don't want to have anything to do with this. I don't want to touch it. I just want to teach my class. And so what we did is we hired students. We gave them a small stipend, since they're sitting in class already, to record these lectures. So we showed them how everything worked, and we showed them how the rest of our AV system uses. We've got these touch screen controllers that they control the lights. They can bring the sound volume up and down, choose the inputs and stuff, which can be kind of confusing. So as a result of getting the students to do the recording, our calls for classroom support actually went down after we implemented this technology. So we've been really happy with it. We record literally all of our medical classes, all of our pharmacy classes, a good amount of our nursing classes, and they use it quite extensively in PT and our Child Health Associate program. So that's really about all I was going to show, since Joe stole my thunder on the search feature and stuff like that. That's okay. But I think I'll just throw it back to him.
Yeah, a few more things. But the questions, of course.
Yeah. What sort of, what's your, more or less, your FTE, and then what sort of package do you have now?
Well, we're running it ourselves. As far as FTE, the students, I'm not even sure how I'd quantify that because they're literally sitting in the classroom already. You could probably even do it with volunteers.
No, full-time enroll. I think you got 2,500 students.
Oh, no, we've got about 3,000 students. Yeah, and we average about 10,000 minutes of viewing time a day. We literally are one of their top customers with 3,000 students because we use it a lot. The students watch us a lot. Another thing, were you going to talk about the statistics at all, Joe?
I wasn't. I think
you get statistics with this that you can see how much each recording is being watched. You can get composites for the average or how much they're being watched for an entire class. You can drill down to see how much time individual students are watching. There are graphics that you can see where they're watching in the video, both on a class and an individual level. And you'll, like if there's a particularly difficult, typically what they'll do is the students will go back and look at what they didn't get in class. Instead of raising their hand and asking a question, they'll just go back and watch it again and again until they see it, and you'll see a peak in the usage right where that happens. So you can see exactly what they're watching and exactly where they're watching it. The other nice thing now with they don't have a Desire to Learn module yet, but we use Blackboard, and they've got some for, was it Moodle and a few other ones. And the Desire to Learn one will be coming out. And the nice thing about that is when you click Stop Recording, you step back and you don't have to do anything. It automatically gets uploaded, it gets encoded, and it automatically gets published under your LMS. And that's really, really nice. As far as the other thing about administrative, I can go back in here and I can show you the I think it's this one. This is what it looks like from an administrative standpoint. And at the end of the term, what I typically do is I just check all of the classes for that particular term, and typically they'll be grouped together depending on how you name your folders. And I can literally delete an entire term's contents in about 2 or 3 minutes. There's because it was set up specifically for lecture capture, unlike some other systems. We tried initially because we already had Adobe Connect. We tried using that for this. And the two things we ran into is it's just a nightmare to go in and figure out which folder was recorded in which term to clean some of this old stuff out. And the other thing was that it's so easy with some of these other systems to forget to click on record because you have to choose it from a menu. Or you get done recording and then you go back and there's no audio. And so it's, well, this whole 2 hours of lecture is absolutely worthless. Where with this you get the preview. So you know you've got a camera feed. You know you've got your audio being picked up. And when you hit record, it works. So the ease and simplicity of use is very, very important. So I'll turn it back over to Joe here.
This is set up for a woman's shirt, right? Aren't they the other way? Yes, there was a question?
Yeah, you mentioned that there was downloading functionality for the mobile devices. And I'm assuming that that would be the same for the desktop also, or is it just the mobile devices downloading?
Yes. Yeah. Typically, people stream because a lot of faculty are concerned about intellectual property and the like. But yes, you can download to. There's a box that says allow downloads. Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, the students can get to that if you allow them. You can enable or disable the podcasting on a course-by-course basis.
Right.
And
But what about if it's not for mobile devices? What about just on the desktop? Is that the same thing?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And we just came out with a new feature called adaptive streaming. So on your content, adaptive streaming will adjust the quality of the video based upon the bandwidth of the user's computer. So it's very important. I don't know if is anybody on Netflix, the broadband Netflix. So that uses adaptive. I'm remiss to mention this because a lot of people go, oh yeah, that doesn't work well. on Netflix. But that's the whole idea, is that if it senses that the bandwidth is dropped, then it will drop the quality of the video to accommodate that. And then if it goes back up, it'll increase the quality. Okay. Let me just go through. We talked about the stats. We talked about. So there's that go live. So on the live broadcasting, this is on the just beneath the video. So you've got this ability to pull it back if you were late to the live session, and then if you want to catch up to where they are, you just hit the go live button. Yes.
In presentation mode, when it's capturing your screen, will it only capture if you have extended desktop, for example, versus like clone desktop? Will it only capture one of those? How does it know which one to capture?
The question was is how does it know which to capture? And
I'm guessing it's going to capture your primary desktop.
yeah.
I haven't even played with that yet, but so that would be interesting.
Yeah, I'll find out for you. Yeah, I'll find out for you.
Do you want to mention the Unison product?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. I didn't realize this was going to take so so long to get to. We have LDAP integration as well, so you're not there loading in databases. Okay. The editor is web-based, so if you want to give faculty the ability to edit their content, feel free to do that. I don't generally recommend that because editing interrupts your workflow. I think, Christy, in your presentation yesterday, you talked, who is it that said something about just have the mistakes in there and everything. It shows that you're human and things like that.
They were so good they didn't make any mistakes.
That's right. So Unison is a product. So we come into colleges and universities and they say, well, we've been using Camtasia, or we've been using flip cameras, or we have all this video that we want to convert. You know, what can we do with that? So we developed a product called Unison that allows you to bring that content in to the Panopto server. It will be re-encoded for the Panopto player, and you can go ahead and take advantage of all that automated workflow to web enable that content. So if you've got the integration with your course management system, if you've got the integration with the closed captioning, if you've got the integration with the adding metadata to the content, okay, all that can be done by just simply dragging those video files into the Unison user interface, and it will automatically re-encode that and make it available just like any other recording with Panopto that you've made with Panopto. So it allows you to take all that content that you've already created and repurpose it for Panopto. So this is, again, sort of going beyond lecture capture. It allows you to create a digital content management platform. There's been a lot of talk about that lately out there. There's different products out there, Kaltura and things like that. Well, when you really peel it back, and what Kaltura does is pretty much exactly what Panopto does. Okay, but with Panopto, it just does a lot more because it's automated, lecture capture in class, out of class.
And you get the same statistics, you get the same authentication, security, and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So these are the file contents that it supports: AVI, WMV, MP3, MP4, and MOV. And that list will be growing as we go through. But it's simply, literally just a drag and drop. Drag it into the application, and it goes ahead and does the encoding for you. Okay, we talked about Duke. Here's some of the analytics that David had referred to. Okay, it's really interesting. Other customers have told me that there's almost as much activity after a test as before a test, and they attribute that to the students going back to see what they got wrong. So imagine if you got a question wrong, you can go back into the recording, search for that term that you got wrong, and it'll take you right to that spot in the recording. Okay, we talked about the different types of options. There's all sorts of other customers we could have you talk with. And that's it. So, yes, questions? Yes. Oh, sure. Yeah, let me do this. Let me go ahead and let me stop this recording. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. Oh, and very interesting about this pause button. our chief technology officer was at Carnegie Mellon. That's where Panopto was developed. And, you know, faculty said, I want a pause button. You know, I want to pause to give them a test, or I want to pause because it's a 3-hour lecture, or whatever, take a break. Well, what do you think happens? They forget to resume it, right? And so you get the screams, where's the other half of my lecture? So what the pause button does is it does pause the recording, but in reality, it puts an edit into your recording. Start edit, and when you hit resume, it goes stop edit. So that content is still being recorded, and you can go back and then just remove that edit if they made a mistake and didn't hit the resume button. Pretty darn cool. That comes from a guy who had to deal with faculty and didn't want to get those calls. But he doesn't tell them, you know, that it's that easy. He goes, I'll have to see what I can do. And you become a hero. And literally in your recording, there's going to be an edit, and you just delete that edit. And now you've restored it. Okay? So that's now going to go ahead and say it's all done. That's great. It's actually going to start uploading. So let me just go ahead and show you here. So here's our recording that we just did right here. So it's going to start the upload process. Now, I don't have enough time to upload it before the next presentation. I think I'm getting the hook right here. But so I can close this, and then I can go someplace else, and you know it will resume the upload. But the edit is just simply you can do it from here, a couple of different places. You just hit the edit button, and it brings up. Now, this is a web-based editor, so you can be at home and edit this. You can be on a Mac. It can be any browser, and it will bring up the editor for you. So it's a little complicated to go through, but essentially it's going to show you all your content, your time. Oh, Christy, I think is that you? Yeah, that's you. That's your presentation from yesterday. There's a cut tool, an editing tool. You can, if they made a mistake and they wanted to redo a 5-minute segment, you can re-record that and plop it back in. So it's a very versatile editor. Okay, great. I think we're out of time. If you put your name down on the sign-up sheet, I'll send you the link to this, and I'll be upstairs, or I'll be around. I actually got to record a lot of sessions, but you'll see me around if you have any other questions. Okay, thank you all. Appreciate it.